What's going on, folks, and welcome to another episode of Riley's Talk. More specifically, Riley Sports Talk. So, the last few weeks, and especially the last few days, because it has heated up the situation, as we all know by now, we've all at least heard the rumors that Deshaun Watson of the Houston Texans, he wanted to be traded, but he himself had never said this until about a day or two ago. He officially requested a trade. Now, keep in mind that Watson has a no trade clause in his contract, so he's the only one that can trade. He's the only one that can do this. The Houston Texans cannot take it upon themselves and trade him unilaterally according to his contract. But he officially requested a trade himself. Now, at the same time, Nick Caserio, I think that's how you say his name, the GM of the Texans, says that they have no intentions of trading Deshaun Watson. So it looks like we got a bit of a quagmire down with the Texans down in Houston. So as always, do me a favor before we delve right into this, hit the like, subscribe, and share button, and thank you for listening. So let's get right into it. So let's talk about Watson for a second. Watson is a top 2 or 3 quarterback in the NFL right now. We can argue and debate all day of who's the best, what have you. Especially amongst the new guys that have gotten to the league about the last 5 years or so. So these guys got at least another 10 years or so left. And if they end up like a guy like Tom Brady or even Drew Brees, they can play well into their 40s. Most of the newer guys, Josh Allen, Mahomes, Jackson, and Watson, these guys are 25, 26 and under. I think Lamar Jackson might only be 21 or 22 years old. So these guys got a long career ahead of them, But the issue down in Texas is that, there's numerous issues. It started off last year or year before last year that they traded DeAndre Hopkins, one of the best he is one of the best receivers in the NFL, and that was one of Watson's favorite targets to throw to. On top of that, the firing of Bill O'Brien, who was also the coach and the GM. This rubbed Watson highly the wrong way. I don't know. I'm not in the locker room. I'm not in the GM meetings. I don't know what the big issue is with him and O'Brien and management, but this obviously definitely rubbed him the wrong way. So he's requested a trade. So again, Watson is good. Now here's my 2 cents. Let's strictly talk about business here. Strictly business. The NFL, Major League Baseball, National Hockey League, and the National Basketball Association, before they are sports, they are businesses first. Just like any other business in the world, any other Fortune 500 company, any other business, they have the same rules, regulations. Not the same rules, but there are rules and regulations. There's unions, there's this, that, and the other. There's lawyers, there's lawsuits. So let's strictly talk about business. I'm not knocking Nick Caserio and the Texans for straight out saying, we're not trading you. We are not trading you. You are here. So backtrack. Before the 2020 season, Watson signed a 4-year extension on top of his rookie contract. He signed a 4-year extension for $156 million. Now, I don't want to get too deep into the contract aspect of it because I'll be lying if I say I knew the ins and outs of each and every contract. But the basics of his contract is this. Number one, there was a $27 million signing bonus. So he got $27 million more than I make, more than probably anybody watching this video make right now, just for signing the contract. But on top of this is a lot of money. And if I'm not mistaken, this contract is guaranteed up at least until the end of the 2022 season. And if it goes that long on its own accord, they will start owing him like $35 million a year or more until he recuperates that $156 million. Now, his contract is structured in a way that, again, there's no trade clause. So Houston is saying, no, we are not trading you. And I don't blame him. I do not blame him. Excuse me. I do not blame them. The quarterback position is obviously the most important position in all of football. And on top of that, it takes, I like to make fun of the Bears. I'm from Chicago. I like to make fun of the Bears. I'm not a Bears fan. But as you can see, not every team gets a high quality quarterback. So, of course, they're not going to let a number 1, 2, or 3 top ranked quarterback in the NFL go. Now, it was told to me by, someone that, it's just better to trade him to get future draft picks and things of that nature, and then dealing with an unhappy player. I can buy that argument. But here's the problem with that. As I said, I like to make fun of the Bears, but realistically, let's go back to Mitch Trubisky. The Bears took him at number 2. And as you can see, that's not working out. With the Texans, they know already what they have in Deshaun Watson. So you can take a team's entire draft picks. You don't know what you're getting out of these college guys, especially right now during this COVID season. I mean, we just finished up the college football season, but did we really get a real good look at some of these players that are coming to the NFL for next season? I don't think we did, because there was just too much going on. Look at Notre Dame, how they got to the college football playoff, and we see how they just got smacked. That had a lot to do with them not just playing teams to their top-notch level of competition, and the one regular season big-time win they had was against Clemson. Remember, Clemson, that game lost Trevor Lawrence. They lost him to COVID. So we don't know what we're getting with these players coming out of college, but we know, if you were a Houston Texas fan or a Houston Texas owner, management, accounting, what have you, you already know what you got in Watson. This is another reason why I'm not against the Texans saying that we're not trading you. Again, this is business. This is business. I have signed you and you inked it on your own to a contract, a really nice contract. After that, you have no say-so in what we as a team and management decides to do. Your only leverage here is to, in my opinion, just like any of us in the regular working world, your only leverage here is to quit. I mean, you can bitch, moan, and complain all you want to. Now, this isn't the NBA where, you can do a James Harden and just not show up, because number one, your contract is not fully guaranteed. Number two, this is a collision sport / contact sport, dealing with CTE, what have you. So if you just go out there lackadaisical and not, really trying to win the game, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get seriously hurt. So I'm not against, the Texans saying, we're not letting you go. I'm just not against this. Because again, we know what we have in Deshaun Watson. Now I also get Watson's point too. And I'm not stupid here. Again, you let DeAndre Hopkins go to Arizona. I mean, we're talking about another guy who's 27 and under, give or take. One of the top-notch receivers in the NFL. I think, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he lead the league in catches this past season? If he did, I mean, look what you let go. I'm assuming that he had a really good rapport, Watson did, with Bill O'Brien, the coach. On top of that, by the Texans firing O'Brien, keep in mind he did GM duties as well. So now you have to find 2 different people, or one and the same. It could be both. But you need to hire for both positions. And again, I'm not in the NFL. I'm not a professional athlete. I don't know the dynamics between what a player has to deal with the GM. But obviously that dynamic is kind of, close. Look at the Bulls back in the day with Jerry Krause. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, what have you. There was not a good relationship there with Jerry Krause. But I guess Jerry Krause, when we talking basketball and football a little bit from the business aspect, Jerry Krause set a precedent that this is a business. This is a 100% business. I am a GM. You are paid to play. You are not paid to do my job. The only person that can fire me is the owner. I work for the owner. You work for me and the owner. So it's pretty much, for the lack of a better word, get back in your lane. So Watson, yeah, I get it. I get it. You are a good player. You are a great player. You are a great talent. But you have no say-so from a business aspect what they do. On top of that, I don't know how this 100% works, but there's a lot of, to my knowledge, if they were to trade him, there's a lot of money that the Texans will either owe Watson, or B, they'll owe another team, or C, certain, dead money would count against the salary cap. Now, from my little research I did, the salary cap is not the big issue, but it's that huge contract. No, it's not Patrick Mahomes style contract, but it's a huge contract this gentleman is getting. So the Texans are looking at this. They're looking at the books. They're looking at their books and saying, okay, how much can we afford to give this guy away, from a financial aspect? But on top of that, Watson, if we were not living in COVID right now, Watson puts butts in seats. So even this coming off this past 4-12 season, people will line up and go to the Houston Texans Stadium to see Deshaun Watson in person. He puts butts in seats. Let's not forget the fantasy aspect of it. I'm not a Texans fan, but I do play fantasy football. I do play daily fantasy football on DraftKings, things of that nature. So guess what? Just on general principle, I may have to watch a Texans game because I may have picked Deshaun Watson for my daily fantasy or for my league-long fantasy. So I need to see kind of what he's doing. Do I need to trade him? Do I need to keep him? Why do I keep this guy every year? What have you? So Watson puts butts in seats. So I don't care how, if I'm a GM, if I'm an owner, I don't care how happy you are. I also have to worry about my bottom line. And guess what? You've already signed your contract. You can bitch, you can moan, you can complain, but the only leverage that you have, like any other employee that works for a corporation, is to quit. So that's my 2 cents on the whole Deshaun Watson and Houston Texans saga. Again, I'm not knocking the Texans. If I was a business owner, I'm not letting you go, bro. I'm not letting you go. You can quit. And then I can recuperate that money back that I lost or that I paid you. Plus, I want my signing bonus back. I paid you money to play quarterback for the Houston Texans. Also, backtrack. Here's the catch. When it comes, let's pretend that Houston decided to trade Watson. How much are other teams willing to give up for this guy? Because if I'm a GM of Houston, I want a lot. Now, I can't remember. I know it was the Dolphins, a few other teams that he was deciding to go to. But I'm going to use Atlanta as an example. Atlanta. So, if I decided to trade you to Atlanta, well, okay, first and obviously I need Matt Ryan from you, because Matt Ryan, although aging, is still a quality quarterback. So I want Matt Ryan for you. Now, here's the problem. If I send you Deshaun Watson and you got Calvin Ridley over there, and still a lot of other receivers are over there. What's not AJ Green? What's the other guy? Julio Jones. Although he had a down year, Julio Jones is still, he's still a quality receiver, and put him against with a good quarterback, he's going to be better. So now, if I'm the Ravens, if I'm the Texans, I have to look for the fact that if I send Watson over there, the Falcons become, from a 4-12, 6-10 squad to like almost this year's Tampa Bay, a perennial Super Bowl contender with Deshaun Watson over there. So now, even if I got Atlanta's first round pick, I'm no longer getting a top 10 pick from these guys. I'm probably going to get a 20th or later pick. Don't let me win the Super Bowl. Shit, because if they win the Super Bowl, guess what? You get the 32nd pick of the draft. I mean, is that enough to really trade a guy like Watson for the 32nd pick of the draft? So I might want your first round pick of this year, your second round pick of next year. I probably want 2 or 3 second rounders, and maybe 3 or 4 more third, fourth, and fifth rounders, 6 rounders, what have you. I want a lot. If I'm going to let this man go. But how many teams are willing to pretty much mortgage their entire franchise and banking their success on this one player? So again, that's my 2 cents with this whole situation with Watson and the Texans. As always, do me a favor, hit the like, subscribe, and share button. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Riley's Talk. You all have a wonderful day.